Vanderbilt who? It was a conference opener blowout at Howard Field for the lacrosse team this past weekend. And the women's rowing team brought the Murphy Cup back to Broad for the first time in 27 years. Access granted for a brand new edition of OwlAccess Pass, and it all starts right now. It didn't take long. The Temple women's basketball program found its new head coach. It's TU to TU for Diane Richardson as she comes from Towson University to replace Tanya Cardoza. Richardson coached the Tigers for 5 seasons with an overall record of 80-66. She also coached the first Towson player to make the WNBA. Temple's athletic department is scheduling a news conference expected on Wednesday for an official introduction. Hello, Owl fans, and welcome into TV Studio 3 for a very busy edition of OwlAccess Pass. I'm Lindsey. Let's start things off with the gymnastics team, and more specifically, the dynamic duo who recently traveled to compete in the regional competition. Temple's gymnastics program was represented at the NCAA Regionals in Raleigh, North Carolina by sophomore Brooke Donabedian on the floor and senior Juliana Rowland on the vault. Donabedian had a strong night on the floor, scoring a 9.850 for the 12th time so far this season. She placed 11th on the floor and 21st overall. Now, for Rowland, she definitely did not have her best performance of the season. She finished the night with an 8.425 on the vault. Rowland placed last among the regional qualifiers. But there's still some great news. With the end of their season comes another round of Moppie Awards. And this time, the Moppies will be given out to 3 standout gymnasts. The Most Valuable Player award will go to a gymnast who has left the biggest impact. And the Moppie goes to Juliana Rowland. From the moment that Rowland transferred to Temple, she has made a very impressive mark on the program. Individually, Rowland had 5 event victories, including 3 on vault. She helped the Owls tie or set 4 school records and currently has more honors than I have fingers on both hands. The Most Improved Player award will go to a gymnast that has shown the most growth. And the Moppie goes to Brooke Donabedian. The sophomore is ranked 2nd in the EAGL, and she managed to tie the school record with a 9.950, making her one of 3 gymnasts in the conference to earn that score. And to top it off, she had her first ever appearance at the NCAA Regionals this past month. Now, the Rookie of the Year award will go to a gymnast or 2 who have shown the most potential with the veterans. And the Moppie goes to Sarah and Hannah Stallings. These 2 have been among the top scoring gymnasts on the squad all season long. Both Sarah and Hannah have consistently been making headlines, and I'm sure they will continue to rise to the top in the next 3 years. Let's now turn to the lacrosse team's big win over Vanderbilt in its conference opener this past weekend. The Commodores got off to a great start as it was back and forth between both squads. That is, in the first frame. The Owls showed no mercy starting in the second, going on run after run. Despite a few goals from Vanderbilt, Temple's Riley Mcgowan, who had the best game of her career with 7 goals, made sure to put this one away. This is the first time that Temple has scored 20 goals in a single game since 2012 against Lafayette. The Owls clearly take this one 20-9. This game was a complete team win as many players had goals and some personal bests on the day. The first name that comes to mind is, of course, attacker Riley Mcgowan. She scored a new high of 7 goals, passing her previous record of 5. Mcgowan is now the 2nd Owl to score 7 goals in a game, the first being Quinn Nicolai. And then there's midfielder Cameron Zavacki, making some of her personal best. She dished out 3 assists, a new career high, and also scored a goal in the first quarter. What a day for these 2. The Owls are home again against Cincy on Saturday. The Temple men's and women's rowing squads hosted and raced in the 39th Memorial Murphy Cup on the Schuylkill River this past Saturday. But it was the women who beat out Georgetown by 32 seconds in the Varsity 8 race to win the Murphy Cup for the first time since 1995. That's right, it had been 27 years since Temple has last brought the Murphy Cup back to North Broad. The women competed in 5 events overall, earning 2 bronze medals and 2 gold medals in their home regatta that included a total of 21 schools. The men also had a very successful day, earning 1 gold, 1 bronze, and 3 silver medals after competing in 6 events against 13 schools. Both teams will be back in action on Saturday, April 16th. The men in California and the women back on the Schuylkill. Taking a closer look at the tennis squads, it was shutout after shutout for the women's team. The Owls cruised past Morgan State 7-0 on Wednesday. The Cherry and White were clearly on a hot streak as they also dominated Binghamton 7-0 on Saturday morning. The Owls swept singles play, winning from all 6 positions in both matches. Their next matchup will be against the Drexel Dragons on a Friday afternoon. Now, it wasn't so pretty for the men's team. In fact, the Owls had quite the opposite turnout for the weekend. First up on Friday, the SMU Mustangs swept the Cherry and White 4-0. Then on Saturday, Memphis managed to edge out the Owls, taking the win 4-2. And to cap off the rough weekend, Temple just could not pull out a win against Wichita State as the Shockers ran away with this one 4-1. The Owls will be looking to get back in the win column on Friday when they also face the Drexel Dragons. Each year, Penn, LaSalle, St. Joe's, Temple, and Villanova all compete in what's famously known as the Big 5 track meet. Joining me now over at the studio set to talk about this big meet and one of Temple's standout track stars is Owl Sports Update's Sage Hurley. Sage?
Thanks for having me, Lindsay. Over in West Philly on Saturday, the rivalry was alive and well at the historic Franklin Field during this year's Big 5 track meet. It's a warm-up for another trip to Franklin Field in late April for the Penn Relays. Penn hosted Nova, LaSalle, St. Joseph's, and Temple's track and field teams on Saturday, but it was the Owls' Taniki Strawn who recorded a program best. With a 12.66-meter effort, she broke Temple's all-time outdoor triple jump record. Just weeks before, she broke Temple's indoor record as well. And as for the rest of the team, the Owls dominated the 100-meter dash, claiming 3 of the top 4 spots. Shelby Elam placed first with a time of 12.05. Crystal Palmels and Marissa White took second and fourth. This all comes after 2 weeks without competition, but they're back in full swing now, scheduled to host the Temple Invite at Temple Sports Complex on Friday. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Sage Hurley. Lindsay, back to you.
Thank you, Sage. As the month of April rolls in, we can't forget about the diamond plays of March. In the next minute, I will look back and highlight what I think were the best 3 plays on any Temple squad in the month of March. First up, on March 6th, talk about going out in style. How about Colin Daly scoring a Temple career high of 7 points, hitting both 3-point attempts in the final 5 minutes of his senior game? The crowd was absolutely electric, chanting his name for the rest of the night. And Daly, he was totally loving it and taking it all in. I mean, look at those celebration moves. Next up, we have attacker Riley Mcgowan's 5-goal game on March 20th. I mean, once you get her started, absolutely no one is stopping her. Mcgowan had a natural hat trick in the second frame and then followed those 3 goals with another 2 later on. She paced all scorers and tied her career high, but not for long. Mcgowan just set a new career high of 7 goals on Saturday. And lastly, we have a sophomore Brooke Donabedian's fantastic floor performance at the EAGL Championships on March 19th. She came very close to tying the school floor record once again when she tallied a 9.925. Donabedian came away with a 2nd place overall finish on the floor and went on to compete in the NCAA regional competition. So don't forget to check out our Twitter poll question of the week. What is the best diamond play of March? A, Colin Daly draining 2 3-pointers in the final 5 minutes of senior night. B, Riley Mcgowan's 5-goal game. Or C, Brooke Donabedian nailing her floor routine at the ELGL Championships. Follow us at Owl Sports Update to vote. And even though many seasons are coming to a close, you can always count on Owl Sports Update Productions to give you enough content to last the entire week. We have the Monday Sports Brief. I'm here on Tuesday. Wednesday, we've got our podcast, Owl Sports Update, off air with the awesome Jay Rosen. And finally, we are live at noon on Thursday with our signature show, Owl Sports Update, where Max Gratzula and Emily Cochran will be rocking the desk this week. And the next time you see me, I won't be sitting at this desk. Oh yeah, next Tuesday's episode of OwlAccess Pass will be from Edberg Olson Hall as we wrap up the spring season with a cherry and white recap. You do not want to miss it. Next Tuesday on our social platforms at Owl Sports Update. That will just about do it for this episode of OwlAccess Pass. So until next week, same time, same place, your access is now up. For the entire crew, I'm Lindsey Moppert. Have a very lovely week, everyone.